Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of the Konami Hyperstick for the Sony PlayStation. Looks pretty cool. Is it? Let's find out. The short answer is yes, if for no other reason than it looks really cool. The Konami Hyperstick model, number RUO13, in parentheses SLPH00019, end parentheses, 1996. Konami. Made in Japan. DC 3.45 volts, and some Japanese I can't read. This was made for the original PlayStation, and I'm not sure where my old school PS1 controller is, so here it is in relation to a PlayStation 2 DualShock 2 controller, which pales in comparison to the Hyperstick, which is really hype. Love the look of this thing. Nice simple design work on this. I like the blue plastic around the outside. It just looks classy. It's not the same boring gray that you got with a lot of PlayStation 1 accessories. It's a bit of a dust magnet, so the Hyperstick will require hyper-constant cleaning, but it's worth it. This is one of the nicer PlayStation accessories that I've ever used. It's a great joystick. Maybe not as good as the RAP4 Premium Vulix Taito Hori Death Stick, but I imagine this costs a fraction of the price, if you can find one. Here's the button layout, and the quality of the buttons is very nice. The joystick is also excellent. It's an 8-way joystick, obviously. There's no analog thumbsticks on this thing. Sorry. The Hyperstick probably isn't your controller of choice for Gran Turismo, but it might be for the myriad array of fighting games, spaceship shooters, and arcade games on the Sony PlayStation. Sure, there's other options out there, like the ASCII-ware fighting sticks seen here. I've had this for several years. The Konami Hyperstick has slightly higher build quality, it's heavier, and I like the joystick better. Also, it looks cooler. Let's get to why you want one of these, because the original PlayStation D-pad sucks. It's way too stiff for a lot of games. So a good arcade stick with a nice joystick is essential, especially if you're into arcade shooters and fighting games. So let's break out the Konami Hyperstick for a game by Capcom. Street Fighter 2 is an obvious choice, but the PlayStation library is packed with games that benefit from a good joystick. Maybe not the one on screen here, which benefits from a trash can, but definitely for Thunder Force 5. There's a lot of great spaceship shooters on the PlayStation, games that really aren't as much fun to play with a stiff D-pad. Hunter, I barely know her. The Hyperstick is a huge improvement over the original PlayStation controller when tearing through some of your favorite spaceship shooters. And how about some Konami arcade games? Yes, there was once a time when Konami, like Sega and Capcom, used to make arcade games. I've been using this controller for my review of the Konami Arcade Classics collection, and I've been playing a bit of Thunder Force as well. It's really nice. I highly recommend it. And I have a Classic Game Room. Shout out and thank you to send, once again, to Mark and Suzanne from Fresh Meadows, New York. Hyper, thank you for the Hyperstick. I checked on eBay for you and couldn't even find one of these, but I did come across something called the Konami Hyperboy, which looks pretty interesting. So this might be tough to find. There's other options out there like the ASCII-ware fighting stick, which is not quite as good, but still pretty good, better than the old PlayStation D-pad. And yes, this does work with the PlayStation 2, so it's a good choice for Virtua Fighter 4, for example. It's the Konami Hyperstick. Don't cheap out on a PlayStation arcade stick. Go for something that's got metal parts, like the ASCII-ware or the Konami Hyperstick. Seriously, it makes a big difference. And I like this one, so if you'll excuse me, I've got some more Konami arcade games to rock with the Hyperstick. What my opponents don't realize is that with the Konami Hyperstick, I am master of the flying guillotine. Oh. Yes! This game's great. The best of Classic Game Room is on DVD, Blu-ray, and Laser Hypervision album set.